Hello, welcome to SV Union High School and Junior College. Today we are going to learn about process. Process is a very important topic in operating system as we know that when we doing anything in a computer, that is whatever the application we open, whatever the we are doing in a computer, for each and everything the process is created. So how to create the process, how to manage the process, how the execution of the process takes place, that we are going to learn. So what is a process? A process or a program under the execution, we can say that a process. When the program execution start, we can say that the process is start. A process is a program during execution. Means whenever we are going to start any program, then that program start, then we can say that the process is starts. Okay. A process is a basic unit of execution in an operating system. So anything is executed in a computer. That time the process is created. Different processes may run different instances of the same program. Okay. So for the same program, we can say that the different processes also created. At a minimum, process execution requires following resources. So following are the two minimum that we required to execute the process. First, memory to contain the program, code and data. Okay, so for whatever the program we are going to execute, for that the memory is required. And second, a CPU, a set of CPU registers to support the execution. Means to execute the program, some CPU registers are required. So the set of that registers we require for process. Now we see process creation. How the process creation takes place. The operating system builds a data structure to manage the process. The stacks are there and the linked lists are there in which the processes are used. Traditionally, the operating system created all the processes. Who creates the processes? The operating system create the processes. But it can be useful to let a running process create another. This action is called as process swapping. Parent process is the original creating process and child is the new process. Okay, so when the process is created, okay, when the program is executing, the program can consist of code or set of instruction. So what is a program? It is the code, actual code of, or we can say that it is a set or group of the instruction. Now when the process is created, then that consists of the code. Code comes from the program. Then second, program counter. Okay, we know that the program counter again then consists of the register address of the next instruction. Means suppose one instruction is executing, after the execution finished of the first process, then second process should have to start. So the program counter consists of the address of the next instruction to be executed. Then third, data section. In a program, we can say that it consists of the global variable from the program. So this is the data section. Different types of the variables are there. So it consists under the data section. Next, stack. So what is a stack? It is the address of process to come back. Now what happens is, in between, suppose the process is interrupted. So at what particular situation or the what particular address the process is interrupt, and when that process is interrupt because of any other reason, then that should process come to back at particular location. When that process come back, then from which location it has to start, that address should be maintained over there in a stack where it interrupt, and where from that particular it has to start. It should be all saved in that particular stack. So we can say that process is an active entity. It is consist of the current information. It starts the execution. It is under the execution. So that we can say that process is active entity and the program is passive entity. So when the program comes under the execution, the process creation takes place. So this is about the process creation. Now we'll see the process life cycle. There is a particular states come in a process. When the process comes, that particular process has to go from that particular states, and it is nothing but the process life cycle. Process are always either executing, comma waiting to execute, or blocked waiting for an event to occur. So these are the main particular states that process come from these under states. As a process executes, it changes state. Means what? Process is executing. Executing means it come from one state to another. Okay, so we can say that the process is executing. New, the process is being created, then it is called as the new process is there. Second, running processes. When the program is running, whatever the code is there, whatever the instructions is there, all these instructions are being executed, means that program is running, means that the process is running, so that we can say that the process is under the running state. Next, waiting. The process is waiting for some event to occur. It is called as a waiting process. Next, ready. The process is waiting to be assigned to a processor. When particular processing is waiting for assigning to the processor, then it is called as a process under the ready state. And last one is a terminated. When the process has finished execution, then we can say that the process is terminated. So these are the states which occurs or which followed by each and every process when it creates, when it starts execution. So this is about the process life cycle. We'll see in detail actually how it takes place, the process life cycle, or how that process goes from all other steps. Now see in a diagram. This is a diagram about the process life cycle. So here ready state is there, running state is there, and the waiting state is there. So these are the main states. When the process create, it will go from all these states as per the events occur or as per the situation comes. First, we have seen the new process. So when process is being created, then we can say that it is a new process. Next one, ready process. Okay, so it maintain in a linked list. There is a one data structure in which the all the ready processes are maintained. Okay, the CPU pick here the process for the execution, means whatever the processes are ready, those are maintained in particular data structure, for example in a linked list. So when the CPU start executing, that time the processes are picked by the CPU from this data structure. Processes are ready here for executing by the CPU. The execution of the process takes place by whom? It is takes place by the CPU. So the CPU takes the one process which are in a ready state. Ready state means what? Whatever it required for the execution of the process, it is with all these resources. So it being in a ready state. Then second one, we can say that when the process is ready, then it is executed by the CPU, then it comes from ready state to the running state. So what is the running state? When the instruction are executing. For example, a program. Program consists of the set of instruction and one process is created for that particular program. Then the process is come from ready to running, and whatever the instructions are there, whatever coding is there for that program, that comes under the running state, then it is called as a running. That is the process are executing. Next one is a waiting state. Okay, so what is a waiting state? The process come from running state to the waiting state because of some particular reason. Okay, suppose it requires some input output resources in between. Then it interrupt over there and it come from running state to waiting state. Okay, for example, it is in a running state and some other input output it is required. Then it interrupt over there and it come from running to the waiting state. So whatever the next ready state is there, the CPU take that particular process and it come from ready to the running state. Okay, then whatever the process is there in a waiting, it is, if that particular process will get that particular whatever the required resources, input and output, then it come from waiting state to the ready state. It will wait to event particular occurs. Okay. Then when the processes are come from running to waiting, either they required some input output or any other higher priority processes are come, that time the process come from the running to the waiting state. Then if it will finish its waiting time, then it will wait to event occur, then it come from waiting to the ready state. And when the process peak, CPU pick that particular process, then it come from ready to running state. So this is the life cycle, how the processes come from one state to another because of particular reason. Okay. So in this below diagram, running state, block and the ready state. Block means, or we can say that it is a waiting state also. The processes are blocks for the input. Then scheduler picks another process. Means what happens is, if current process is blocked for some particular reason, then scheduler pick another process and its execution start. Then scheduler pick this process and the fourth input becomes available. So when that input becomes available, then block process come to the ready process. Okay. First what happens is the process becomes the block. Then scheduler does, or it picks the another process. Okay. Now scheduler pick this process. It come from the ready to running state. And whatever the input becomes available, the process which is in a block, then again it come from block to the ready state, from ready to running. Okay. Running state will be either blocked or it comes to the ready state. So this is the life cycle of the process. Means process has to go from these particular states under or during its life cycle. Now we can say the process termination. When the process terminated, when the process exit. Okay, there must be some way that a process can indicate the completion. Okay, first this indication may be a halt instruction generating an interrupt alert to the operating system. Okay, this is the first reason. Second, a user action. For example, user log off or quitting an application. That time the whatever the process created for that particular program will be terminate. A fault or error occur. During the execution, suppose any fault or error occur for that program, then the process will terminate and the parent process terminated. Suppose one process created by the parent process, the child process. The child process is executing over here, but the parent process terminated, then automatically that child process is terminated. So this is the reasons why the processes are terminated. Batch job issues halt instruction because of this process indicate terminated. User log off, user shutdowns, the application or the computer. That time the process terminated. Process executes a service request to terminate. Process request to execute and to stop. Execution stop. That time it terminated. Parent kills a child process. A parent suggests that to stop the execution of the child process. That time the process terminate and the error or the fault conditions occur. So these are the some reasons why the process is terminated. So in this we have seen what is the process, what is the life cycle of the process and why the process termination. So again it is an important topic and there is a question in a exam on process also, either 3 marks or the 4 marks. So this is about the process. Thank you.